Hey everyone. So I made a list of some of the questions I've received. Thank you very much, by the way. I got a ton of them. I tried to combine the questions, like if people asked a question and it was very similar to another one, then I tried to combine it. And then also, if I didn't answer your question, it's possible that I answered it in another video, or maybe I'm planning on doing something in the future, like making a whole video out of it. So for now, I compiled about 11 questions. Some of them have sort of sub questions. So I'm sorry this is a long video, but I'm trying to get to a lot of stuff. So we will start. The first one is asking about tattoos and piercings in the workplace. So this is obviously going to be different depending on where you work and in what field you work. I have actually talked about this briefly in another video, how I think that because of the field I work in, entertainment law, it's just like a lot more laid back and relaxed than it would be if maybe you were in like corporate law or even criminal law, because I know, well, I have a few friends who do criminal law either as, public defenders or as, or on the prosecution side, and they have to wear suits to court, and so they tend to just, cover everything up. And, my friend who works for the prosecution, he also, I think he takes out his earrings. I'm not sure if he had one or two. I can't remember right now. I think he had two. He takes those out. So, I mean, I don't have a clear answer for that. I guess just you will feel it out. I would suggest covering up your tattoos and maybe taking out your piercings for interviews. I did that for a few interviews with my nose piercing. When I went in for my interview with the job I work at now, I didn't, because I had done a bunch of research and I knew that one of the guys I was interviewing with had been in a band and the other one had been in the music industry as an attorney since the 70s, so I just figured those sort of things weren't going to offend them at all. But you will get an idea for it, whether it's the type of place that you might want to cover that up. Okay, second question is about working during law school and how did I support myself. So again, I think I've talked about this briefly in another video. Most law schools do not let you work your first year, which makes sense. They want you to really focus on the work and get used to just the pace of everything. And I know a few people who snuck around and worked because they had to, they just needed the money. I supported myself, at least the first year, just completely by loans. I figured, I'm taking out tens of thousands of dollars just for tuition. I figured I might as well take out the extra for living expenses as well. Drop in the bucket at this point. So I did that, and I know a ton of people that did that just lived on loans. And then my second and third year, well, my second year, I had an unpaid internship, and my loans for the semester didn't stretch far enough to support me over the summer. So I worked part-time at my internship, and I took a couple of summer classes part-time so I could qualify for financial aid. And that's how I was able to support myself my 1L summer? Yeah, the summer after my 1L year. Then the summer after my 2L year was when I got the internship that led to my job, and that was paid. And so luckily I made just enough to get through the summer. And then I continued to work there in my third year, although I still took out the maximum amount in loans because I wasn't sure how many hours I was going to be able to work, and I think I only ended up being able to work like 10 hours a week, and it was $10 an hour, so it's not like that really could have supported me. So yeah, basically working during law school, at least during the 1L year, is usually forbidden. You're going to live on loans, so basically get used to that unless you have, some other amazing source of income. And basically I would just say during your 2L and your 3L years, if you do decide to work, just make sure you don't overdo it. Like, make sure you don't have too many units, or make sure you're not working too many hours. You definitely need to give yourself enough time to study and enough time to sleep, which I know is very important because I love sleep, and I think it's one of the best things you can do besides like actually studying the material. So third question, what is the stress level like in my job and the hours? So again, take this with a grain of salt because, as I've said before, I feel pretty lucky. I'm in a field that is a lot more laid back. Even though I'm at a firm, it's technically like working in-house as far as just the vibe and the hours. I currently work from I usually get to the office between 8 and 8:30, and I stay until 5 or 5:30. And so, and I know tons of friends who stay well after that in their jobs, but they work for bigger firms where it's expected, where there's billable hours and all that. We just don't work that way at my firm. Now, don't get me wrong, like if there's something happening that requires my attention, of course I'm going to stay later. But most of the time, if something does require my attention, I can do it over email, you know, once I get home. And I do check my email all the time. There's never a time when I'm like, oh, this is just, you know, private time. I mean, I guess like if I am on vacation, maybe I won't as much, but I mean, it's part of your job. You know, you have clients, you have ongoing projects. They don't just pause when you get off work. And that's kind of what you're signing up for when you become an attorney. But I feel very lucky because it's just pretty laid back for me. It feels really manageable. There are definitely times where it's stressful, but that tends to only be when we have litigation, which my firm doesn't do a lot of. Because if you think about it, contracts, while they can be under a time deadline, it is a lot more flexible. You're not facing, you know, court deadlines where a judge is going to sanction you for being late for something, or you're going to, you know, lose an opportunity or whatever. With contracts, it is a lot more flexible. And if for some reason something comes up where you're unable to do something, you can contact the, you know, the attorneys on the other side and apologize and say, hey, I didn't get to this today. I will get it to you first thing in the morning. And so I love that because I am a naturally anxious person. I find a reason to stress about pretty much anything. And so I knew pretty early on that I wanted to go into transactional law for that very reason, because I know that it tends to be more flexible with deadlines and just less stressful. So so far that's how it has been for me. And also I manage my stress just by being very organized at work. I have to-do lists, I prioritize stuff. On Mondays when I come in, I immediately like figure out what, you know, what needs to be done. I just feel like that really helps me to keep everything manageable and under control and to not stress me out too much. Okay, next one. Suggestions for meeting people in law school and how I met my good friends. Well, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for you to meet people, one of them being obviously classes, and that is probably where you will meet a lot of people because you're going to spend a ton of time with them, and it's just natural for you to develop a rapport, and you have the same things to talk and complain about, which is really nice. And it's going to be difficult to hold on to friendships that are outside of law school. I'm not saying impossible, but difficult, because you're going to be going through something very stressful, and it's going to be natural that you start bonding with people who are going through it with you and who you can study with, like I said, complain with, you know, various things. And you're about to be going into the same field, so there's just this natural bond there. But I would suggest keeping those non-law school friends, because you're going to want people who you can hang out with who aren't going to be constantly talking about legal related stuff, trust me. Suggestions, or no, how I met mine. Like I said, I met mine in class, and basically also we had the, what is it called? Beer on the Beach, which was this every other Thursday happy hour. It wasn't actually on a beach. There's this patio outside of our school that is called the beach, which I'm not sure why. Maybe because people lay out there to sun themselves and whatnot. But the school would pay for kegs, and we would hang out there every other Thursday. And that was such an amazing way to meet people. And then we just started, you know, making other excuses to get together. And, you know, sometimes it would just be like a stressful class, and we'd be getting out at the same time. We'd be like, let's go grab a beer, you know, whatever. I tend to make my strongest friendships over alcohol. I don't know what that says about me. Okay, next one. Favorite places to shop, eat, and hang out. Well, my favorite places to shop. Well, I'm a little bit cheap when it comes to shopping, so unless there's a sale, I usually don't go to, like, you know, Banana Republic or things like that. But I really love Forever 21 and H&M, you know, just for their deals. Target. Oh my God, I love Target. And when I am feeling like splurging, I really love the website ModCloth, because they have a lot of adorable vintage stuff really cute shoes. I bought this one-piece red polka dot bathing suit from there. I think I bought my last two birthday dresses from there. No. Last year's was from Ruche. This year's from ModCloth. But yeah, it's an amazing site. You should check it out if you haven't. Favorite places to eat. I love going out to eat in general. I especially love if it's a new place and I've heard, a lot of good things about it. But one of my favorite sort of fancy restaurants in San Francisco is called Nopa. And I actually just got to go there for my birthday dinner and it was delicious. There's also a ramen place really nearby that I love. My favorite genres of food, I really love burgers and I really love burritos and I really love ramen. I don't know, it's difficult. It's just, whatever my mood is. I guess I can't say favorite places to eat, really, honestly, because I love going out to eat, no matter where it is. And favorite places to hang out. And I guess when I hang out with my friends, we tend to go to bars. So there's a lot of bars throughout the city that I really love. One of my favorites is Zeitgeist. If you've ever been to the city, you've probably been to Zeitgeist. It's this awesome, I would call it a beer bar, but they have hard alcohol too. They have amazing Bloody Marys. And they also have some food, and they have an awesome outdoor patio. And we don't, get a lot of warm days in San Francisco, but if there's any sun, it's great to hang out back there. So that's one of my favorite places to hang out. Okay, next. Debt management. Ah, yes. People have been really curious about this. So basically, going to law school, as I've said before, is going to be very, very expensive. You need to prepare yourself for that. Unless you have some other way of paying for law school, you are going to graduate with an immense amount of debt. My debt is over $100,000. So basically, I could have bought a house. Maybe not in a very nice neighborhood or town, but a house nonetheless. And so you would think that I would be really stressed out about that, especially because, like I said earlier, I am a naturally anxious person. However, at some point, I think it was my second year or something when I was looking through, my loan documents, it just occurred to me I could make a choice. I could either continue and, suck it up, or I could stop, and try to find a different job that maybe, didn't require me getting into so much debt. But when I really thought about it, I just really couldn't picture myself doing anything else. I've always wanted to be a lawyer. It's the only job I've ever imagined myself doing. And so it was just worth it to me. I was just like, it's a shitty situation that it costs this much, but what's the alternative for me? There just wasn't one. And so that's why I tell you guys all the time to really think about it and really make sure that you're going to law school for the right reasons. Because if you're going just because you don't know what else you want to do, you don't really want to go out into the real world, but you're not sure you want to be an attorney, that's a terrible reason. Don't do it, because you're going to go into so much debt over something that you're not certain about. And so basically, once I decided there was really no other alternative for me, I stopped stressing about it. And also, they have this amazing program called income-based repayment, IBR. And so essentially, even if you're not making enough money, your loan payments aren't going to be so much that you can't handle them. So that's what I am on right now. And of course, if you're doing public service, I think if you work a certain amount of years, you can even get total loan forgiveness. I might be wrong about that because I'm obviously not in the public service sector, but you should definitely look into that. So now that I am paying my loans, and it's actually been a whole year. November last year was when I started repaying my loans. Now that I'm repaying them, I'm just not as stressed about it. Every month I make my payments because okay, so to back up a second, you can only get IBR for for federal loans. You can't get them for private loans. So I took out a loan to take the bar exam through Wells Fargo, and that one doesn't qualify for IBR, but still the payments are really manageable. It's $115 a month for that one. And then the other ones, I have one more that's not federal. There's this small Hastings loan. I don't even know why that one was separate. Anyways, I have to make 3 different payments. I make one to Wells Fargo, one to ACS, I don't remember what that stands for, and then one to Fed loans, and that's my big one. Fed loans is my really big one. So thankfully, that's the one that qualifies for IBR. So anyways, you basically just submit your like proof of income, and then they decide how much you have to pay. And it's really manageable. Now, I know people are going to be like, yeah, but how quickly are you paying it off if it's so manageable? Not quickly at all. But the thing is, I don't really care. Like, in the grand scheme of things, the way I look at it is that I give them my money every month so that I don't default, and then I just forget about it. Because it doesn't hurt your credit. Student loans are some of the best negative credit you can have, if that makes sense. And as long as you're paying it off every month, you're not going to get, dinged for like late charges or default or whatever. So I just think of it as another payment, a phone bill, rent, whatever. And yeah, someday I'm going to want to have it go down a little bit more, but for now, I just started my career, and it's good enough to me that I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. If I thought about it more than that, I would just stress myself out needlessly. Because what am I going to do? It's not like I have extra money laying around to throw at it. So, that's my philosophy about it. And everybody else, or each person is obviously going to have their own way of dealing with their debt. But for me, I just make those payments and then I forget about it until next month. And that works for me so far. Okay, how much of law school actually applies? I guess it would depend on what you're practicing, obviously. So the classes that have applied for me the most have been, like copyright and trademarks and stuff like that, because those are the classes, or those are the subjects that apply to the type of law that I practice. But also I would say that our legal writing and research class really helped. Although we don't use Westlaw or LexisNexis at my office, just because I guess we don't really want to pay for it. But we use other free legal research services. But it was really helpful. It taught you how to search for things and also how to organize your research and synthesize it. And yeah, so that's been really helpful. There's a lot of law school that does not apply to what you're going to end up doing. And that is going to be frustrating, trust me. It was very frustrating for me. But their thought is to make you as well-rounded as possible, because not everybody knows what they're going to practice after law school. And you want to be as prepared as possible for the bar exam. So that's basically why they do it. So, just suck it up, learn it, move on. What I would have done differently in law school. Honestly, I don't know if there's a lot I would have done differently. I feel like, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I did all of the things that you were supposed to do. I maybe would have spent a little more time studying, but the thing is, I look back on law school with such fond memories. When I look back, I think of all of the amazing friends I made, the trips, the times at happy hour, all these things. And I know that's not necessarily what I should remember, maybe I should remember pulling all-nighters and all that. But I have a job, I am able to support myself, and so, really, there's no use in thinking about what I could have done differently, Okay, last one. I'm going to describe a day in the life. So, I usually wake up at about 7. I shower in the evenings because I don't like waking up any earlier than I have to. And also my hair is a little bit difficult. As you can see right now, it's really poofy because I just blow dried it. So I don't like dealing with that in the morning. So I wake up at 7. I get ready for work. I'm usually on the bus by 7:45, 8. Sometimes I stop at this coffee shop down the street that I love. And then that usually puts me at work between 8:15 and 8:30. I am almost always the first one there because we have sort of different schedules. Again, like I said, it's very flexible and we're a small firm. I am a proponent of flexible schedules because I think that people work differently at different hours. For example, I work best in the morning. I start to feel my decline at about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Whereas I can definitely tell that the 3 other attorneys in the office work better in the afternoon/evening, so they come in a little bit later. So like I said, I'm there by 8:30. I have breakfast at the office. It's just easier. And so I have breakfast and coffee. I spend a few quiet minutes, like just, checking like blogs and stuff. And then I start checking my email and creating a to-do list. Because sometimes I can receive like a ton of emails overnight while I was gone, or, on the weekends. And then if there's anything that I need to call my boss about, I will call him, or sometimes we're just emailing back and forth to figure out how to like prioritize stuff. Now, since we don't really have any litigation going on right now, I usually spend my days reviewing contracts and sending my boss, my comments on contracts, or if we've already sent the opposing side comments and they've gotten back to us, then I do like a comparison to see what they gave us or didn't give us. And so I do that. I also do some IP registration, like trademark, copyright, Sound Exchange, BMI. BMI, ASCAP, and SoundExchange are the ways that songwriters and performers get paid their royalties for songs. Those companies collect the royalties and then send you a check like every quarter or something like that. And so it's very important to get yourself registered. And I think you have to register every time, like, you put out a new album or whatever. So that's something that we try to keep up on. We also do some corporate formation, so forming LLCs or corporations and maintaining those. So I do that. I usually take my lunch at about 12:30. I've been staying at the office for lunch because I'm trying to save money. But sometimes I go out because I work in the Mission and there's so much good food. And then I just continue working until, like I said, about 5:30. And sometimes my bosses work from home, and so we just communicate via email and phone. So my days can be really quiet. My days, besides I have music on and whatnot. But some days I'm just very independent in my work. I just do things as I have figured out that I need to do them. There's not a lot of like my boss telling me to do something. Like he'll forward me a contract and be like, please review this. But I just mean like he's not hovering over my shoulder being like, what are you doing now? Which is really nice. It makes me feel trusted and like I have a lot of independence in my work. And I think I work better that way, I have figured out. So once I leave work, I usually go home and, have dinner and have my evening. Although lately I've been babysitting. I know it's kind of weird, but I started babysitting through this service called Urban Sitter, and it's basically because I wanted to have like a bunch of extra money because I haven't been able to travel as much lately, and that's been really depressing. Like I haven't been out of the country in like 6 years. Yeah, that's really sad. So yeah, I've been babysitting and just putting away like every penny I'm making from it. And so my first like reward from all this babysitting was that I went to Vegas for my birthday, and for once I was able to like really go wild in Vegas. And like not wild like go to clubs and stuff because that's not really my scene, but I love blackjack. And usually I go to Vegas with like $60 to play blackjack, which is crazy because you can run out of $60 in like 10 minutes. But this time I brought a lot more, and I met my best friend and her fiance, and it was me and my boyfriend and my parents and my mom's friend. And we all like went and had a great time, and I was at the blackjack tables like every night, and it was just so fun. So it's definitely been worth it to do this, and I'm traveling more coming up. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you probably see that I've been to Atlanta twice this year. I'm going again for New Year's Eve. And yeah, so that's basically what is going on in my life right now, is just trying to work as much as possible and save and travel. So this has been long enough. I am going to go, and hopefully I will get this edited. If not, then I'm sorry. This was like 32 minutes long, and I will surely be back to talk to you guys again soon. Okay.